Titleist TS1 versus Titleist TS2. Two drivers born from the exact same Titleist Speed Project family, but built for two entirely different golfers. One is literally the absolute lightest, most forgiving driver Titleist has ever engineered. The other, well, it's their traditional, all-around workhorse that became the undisputed go-to for a massive chunk of everyday players. So which one is actually going to fix your drive, and which one is just going to drain your wallet?
Exactly, Mike. Because let's be real, buying the wrong driver just because of some slick marketing hype or because you're trying to copy the scratch golfer in your Sunday group is the absolute easiest way to waste $500 and ruin your weekends. Welcome back to Golf Gear Showdown. We put real golf gear head-to-head so everyday American golfers can make smarter buying decisions. I'm Jake, your voice for the everyday weekend warrior, and I'm here with Mike, our resident data and specs guy.
Look, we've all been in this exact frustrating scenario. Picture this, you're standing in the pro shop, both of these drivers are sitting right there on the used rack, the prices are basically identical, and you have to pick one. The marketing blurbs, they look pretty much the same. If you're a 15 handicapper just trying to break 90, how are you supposed to know if you need that ultralight TS1 or the standard TS2? That's exactly what this head-to-head showdown is going to answer once and for all.
To cut through all that confusion, here's our 6-round fight card for this explainer. We're looking at distance, forgiveness, accuracy and consistency, feel and sound, price and value, and finally, best fit by golfer. And let me tease you a bit here, that accuracy round might completely surprise you.
All right, round one, distance.
Right out of the gate, we've got to look at the raw specs and the design intent. Titleist engineered the TS1 to be remarkably lighter. And the whole point of shedding that weight is to allow players who struggle to load the club to generate more raw clubhead speed with the exact same physical effort. It's simple physics. If you have a slower swing speed, that lighter TS1 setup can absolutely help you pick up a few extra yards just through better tempo and a much easier release through the ball.
Yeah, but Mike, let's look at it from the everyday golfer's perspective. I play with guys who swing completely out of their shoes. They do not need a featherweight club. They need stability. The TS2 isn't trying to be the lightest club in the room. It's built for normal to fast swing speeds. If you put that ultralight TS1 in the hands of my buddy Dave, who already swings at 100 miles an hour, his timing gets completely thrown off. So the TS1 claims this first round, but only if you have a slower swing and actually need help generating that speed. If you already swing hard, the TS2 takes the win.
Moving right into round two, forgiveness and miss-hit protection.
Now this is the big one. This is the single biggest question average golfers have when they look at these two clubs. Which one is actually going to bail out my terrible, over-the-top, rusty Saturday morning swing? Titleist literally marketed the TS1 as their most forgiving driver, and honestly, on the course, it shows. It's got this noticeably larger, more stretched-out profile behind the ball. Plus, it has a built-in draw bias. The TS2 is certainly forgiving. Actually, scratch that, it used to be the most forgiving model in their lineup, but the TS1 is just practically automatic. That lighter weight makes squaring the club face so much easier for the weekend warrior who's constantly leaving the face wide open. So round two goes firmly to the TS1. It is built for maximum forgiveness and face control.
But hold on a second. Before you rush out and buy the TS1 just because it won the forgiveness battle, round three is the one most golfers completely overlook. And let me tell you, while you might think you know how this plays out, this round is going to completely flip the script for a lot of you. Pure miss-hit protection is great, but does that actually translate to keeping your ball out of the woods over an entire round? Let's find out. Round three, accuracy and consistency. This shifts the battle off the spec sheet and onto the actual golf course. Picture this, you're on the first tee, the clubhouse is right behind you, people are watching, your heart rate is definitely up. Which club do you actually trust? For a 15 handicapper who fights a nasty slice, the TS1 is an absolute lifesaver. That draw bias and the massive footprint physically help reduce that big right miss. It literally keeps you in the short grass over those 14 drives around.
True, Jake. But we really have to define accuracy here. If we're talking about a well-struck shot by a player with decent mechanics, the TS2 is far more predictable. It has a very neutral, stable profile. The TS1's draw bias might actually cause a decent player to overcorrect and snap hook it left into the trees. So I'm calling round three a situational tie. TS1 wins for consistency if your primary miss is a slice, but TS2 earns the win for pure accuracy if you already have a relatively solid, neutral swing.
Let's talk about round four, feel, sound, and confidence at address.
This is the whole psychological side of the showdown. Look, if a club looks weird to you or it sounds like a tin can when you hit it, you're going to get nervous. And being nervous costs you strokes before you even start your backswing. The TS2 is just classic Titleist. It looks incredibly clean, compact,
and it has that beautifully muted, solid thwack at impact. It makes you feel like a real player. The TS1, well, because of its lightweight construction and that larger footprint, sounds a little louder, a little different. For some, it feels completely effortless, but for a lot of traditionalists, it just feels a bit too light in the hands. When you look down at the TS2, you know you have a serious weapon. This round belongs to the TS2 by a slight margin.
Now for round 5, price and value.
Let's talk about the impact on your wallet. Both the TS1 and TS2 are now previous generation models from the Speed Project era, which means you shouldn't be paying brand new club prices for either of them. Here is your smart shopper move for this showdown: hit the used market. Since the TS2 was the standard workhorse for the masses, Titleist produced a massive amount of them. That means there is way more inventory out there on the secondary market. You're gonna have a much easier time finding a used TS2 with the exact shaft flex and loft you need, often at a steeper discount simply due to the huge supply. The TS1 is a bit more of a niche club, making it harder to track down. Because of the better availability, broader fit, and easier resale value, the TS2 clearly takes the crown as the value winner.
All right, we've gone the distance. Now here's the part where we tell you exactly who should buy each one of these drivers. And like I said, one of these answers might actually shock you based on what you thought you needed when this explainer started. The final round, round 6, best fit by golfer type.
We're putting all the data, the feel, and the performance together to deliver the definitive verdict based on who you actually are on the golf course. Let's rapid fire this. Complete beginners and high handicappers, go with the TS1. It's specifically designed to get the ball airborne and keep it in play.
Jake, seniors and slower swingers, we're talking under 85 miles per hour, TS1 all day long. Let the lightweight tech do the heavy lifting for you. Chronic slicers, again, the TS1. That draw bias is going to be your best friend.
But if you are a mid-handicapper, shooting in the 80s or low 90s with decent mechanics, the TS2 is your winner. It perfectly balances forgiveness with total control.
Faster swing speeds over 95 miles per hour, TS2 for sure. You don't need the lightweight help, you need the stability. And finally, for the budget-conscious buyers who want flexibility and easy resale, the TS2 takes it. Overall, the TS2 is the better all-around package for the widest range of average golfers, while the TS1 is a brilliant, highly specialized tool for players who need maximum help.
And that is our definitive golf gear showdown. But now we're turning it over to you. The game is played on real grass, not just on spreadsheets. So I want you to drop down into the comments right now. What is your current handicap? What is your usual miss off the tee? And which of these two drivers are you put in your bag? I read every single comment, and we actually use your real-world struggles to pick the gear for our next battle. Make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss our next head-to-head showdown. Until then, ask yourself one question. Are you playing the